Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator 1. Chapter 1 Sign in successfully, get vector operation. Marvel World. In Mutant College, Levi's has a fever. The heat filled his body, and his whole body was wet with sweat, as if there was something heavy on him, making him a little breathless. This drowsy feeling made him very uncomfortable. The atmosphere in the house was a little dignified. Wearing a black suit and sitting in a wheelchair, Professor X touched Levi's hot forehead and could not help frowning. Professor, should he be in the Awakening X gene? Behind him, Cyclops with special red eyes asked curiously. Professor X nodded slowly and said, yes, he can block my telepathy so that I can't invade his brain. You can't even teach your ability. Cyclops and Storm behind him were a little surprised. No, Professor X shook his head, with a hint of anticipation in his eyes. This child's ability is very special, and the potential is huge, and it may even surpass that of me and Eric. Cyclops and Storm breathed a sigh of relief when they heard the words, and they both looked at each other and could see the shock in each other's eyes. Professor, you mean this kid could be a level 5 mutant? Storm asked in shock. I think so. Professor X nodded. If he can grow up smoothly, he may be able to lead mutant to glory and fulfill Eric's long-cherished wish. Professor X and Magneto have always been committed to making mutant appear in the eyes of ordinary people. To this end, Professor X's approach is more gentle. He opened the mutant school, which specializes in teaching mutants to control their own abilities. Magneto's approach is more radical. He formed the Mutant Brotherhood, intending to use force to silence the humans who oppose mutant. But in any case, both of them are thinking about mutants' future. Cyclops and Storm were even more shocked when they heard this. Neither of them expected that Professor X would rate the Chinese boy in front of him so highly. And at the moment, in Levi's mind, a progress bar kept reading. 10%. 0.11%. 0.12%. Levi's is a traveler who has been in this dangerous Marvel world for half a year. He was about to live on the streets, but he was brought back by Professor X and told that he was a mutant. Levi's was stunned when he heard the news, but he soon accepted the new identity. It's better to be a mutant than to be a normal person. If you can awakening a super ability that defies the sky, then you can also have some self-preservation in this dangerous Marvel world. But half a year later, Levi's showed no sign of awakening super ability at all, which almost made him doubt whether he had super ability. However, today, what he didn't expect is that super ability does not have awakening, but he has waited for his gold finger. Open black lens bracket ding. The God level sign in system is fully charged, and it is binding with the host. Open black lens bracket ding. System binding is successful. Close black lens bracket. Levi's was overjoyed when he heard the prompt in his head. Sure enough, as a traverser, there is nothing else, but the system will arrive late. System, let's talk about your role. Levi's urgently needs to know the role of his gold finger. Open black lens bracket ding. The God level sign in system allows the host to sign in once a day. If you sign in at a special location, you will get special rewards. You will also get special rewards for characters who sign in, but there will be a failure rate. The number of final sign-ins cannot be superimposed. Close black lens bracket. After listening to the introduction of the system, Levi's came up with 3 functions of the system after thinking. First, no matter where you are, you can sign in once a day. If you don't sign in, the number of sign-ins will not be accumulated. Second, there will be special rewards for signing in at special locations, and it is not known how special it is. Third, you can sign in on other characters, which can also get special rewards, but there is a chance of failure. Levi's suddenly remembered that this was Mutant Academy, so it should be considered a special place. I don't know if I can sign in here, can I get something good? System, sign in. Levi's ordered the system without hesitation. Open black lens bracket ding. Congratulations to the host who successfully signed in for the first time and obtained the super ability, vector operation. Close black lens bracket. It turned out to be a vector operation. Levi's eyes widened when he saw the sign-in item. He is no stranger to the super ability of vector manipulation. That is the only 7 super ability users in Academy City, ranking first, code-named Accelerator's super ability. Vector operation can control the direction of energy. As long as it touches the skin, it can freely manipulate the direction of all energy such as kinetic energy, thermal energy, and electrical energy, and can reflect all physical attacks. This can be an extremely perverted ability. System: how do I use this super ability? Levi's can't wait to have this super ability. With this super ability, at least in the Marvel world, there are some self-protection abilities. Open black lens bracket ding. Does the host integrate super ability, vector operations? Close black lens bracket. Yes. Levi's chose integrate without hesitation. Open black lens bracket ding. The system prompts that the first time integrate super ability will have adverse reactions, please don't worry about it. Close black lens bracket. After hearing this sentence, Levi's only felt dizzy for a while, and then passed out. If he was still conscious, he would definitely scold the system and give him some reaction time anyway. And with his fainting being discovered by others, this is the beginning of the scene. ... American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator 2. Chapter 2 Professor X and #039's surprise. The next day. Levi's yawned and sat up from the bed. He stretched out, rubbed his sullen eyes, and then came back to his senses after being stunned for a while. By the way, what about my vector operations? Levi suddenly recalled the matter of getting Goldfinger yesterday, and when he thought about it, he suddenly felt that the whole world in front of him was different. He found that his eyesight was much better than before, and there were flowing lines on the table, walls or ceiling in front of him, which was very magical. Closing his eyes, he could even feel the flowing lines in the air, and even the sunlight had flowing lines. Whenever these lines touch themselves, they are redirected. Is this a vector operation? Levi's was a little surprised. Vector manipulation is the ability to arbitrarily manipulate the direction of all vectors that are touched by the surface of the body, such as momentum, light, and electromagnetic fields. The reflection and contact with one's own matter is only the most basic function. It will reflect some harmful or harmless substances unconsciously, such as ultraviolet light, nitrogen oxides and sulfur oxides, etc. But if all the UV rays are reflected, the body will be depigmented and the skin and hair will turn white. It can even lead to an imbalance of its own hormones, resulting in a neither male nor female body shape. This is not what Levi's wants. And it's easy to change this subconscious reflex. Just consciously enumerate the substances that need to be reflected. Levi's vector operations don't require computational power, it's more of an instinct, and you just need to think about it. Immediately afterwards, he came to the wall and poked his fingers lightly against the flowing lines on the wall. A magical scene happened. I saw that his fingers seemed to be poking on the tofu, and he easily poked a hole in the wall. This is a simple use of vector manipulation. You can easily destroy the wall by changing the direction of the flowing lines on the wall. It's amazing. Levi's marveled at his masterpiece. Just as he was about to continue poking a few holes in the wall, the door was opened. Storm pushed Professor X in a wheelchair, and behind him was Cyclops. Son, how do you feel about your body? Professor X came to Levi's and asked with concern. Levi's has great respect for the old man who took in him when he was homeless. He smiled cheerfully and shook his head. Professor, I'm fine now. That's good. Professor X nodded with a smile, and then said, then can you show your ability? Levi's had long known that Professor X and the others would ask this question. He nodded, and then stuck his finger at the wall again. The wall was still easily poke a hole. This is... Storm and Cyclops looked at his behavior with some doubts. What does it mean to just poke a hole in the wall? Levi's explained with a slight smile. I call my ability, reflex, which can reflect objects that touch the body. Reflection. Storm and Cyclops looked at each other. The word was too broad. For example, physical reflection. If you can reflect all physical attacks, you will be invincible in the face of any physical attack. If it can also reflect energy, such as fire, wind and lightning, etc., then it is even more powerful. So just hearing the word reflection is not easy to judge his ability. That's right. Levi's nodded, not intending to reveal any more ability information. After all, the ability of vector manipulation is too perverted. How could Professor X and the others not know the meaning of vector manipulation? Besides, he just had awakening super ability just now, so it's normal not to know. Sure enough, after the three of Professor X got such an answer, they didn't pursue it any further. Then child, have you felt any side effects of using ability? Professor X continued to ask with a kind expression. Be aware that not all mutants can perfectly control their super ability like Professor X and Magneto. Most mutants use super ability with side effects. For example, Cyclops has the ability to fire red lasers from the eyes, but this ability cannot be turned off. If he didn't wear special glasses, I'm afraid he wouldn't even open his eyes, because opening his eyes would keep him in a state of releasing energy all the time. No side effects have been found for the time being. Levi's shook his head. In fact, he was not sure whether he was a mutant. After all, his super ability was given by the system. Professor X nodded when he heard the words, but he was not too optimistic. Levi's had predicted that he would become a level 5 mutant. If there were no side effects, it would be very meaningful. Son, you should follow Orlo to test the super ability first. After that, I will make a special training plan for you, so that you can quickly master the super ability. After awakening super ability, mutant generally does not know much about his ability, and needs to constantly explore to use it correctly. And it also requires continuous training to make the super ability more powerful. So it is very necessary to test the super ability strength. In fact, even Levi's himself does not know what level his vector operation belongs to. So he looked at the system panel. Open black lens bracket host. Levi's close black lens bracket. Super ability. Vector operation. Super ability level. LV.3 level 3 mutant. Experience value. 1000 over 0. American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator 3. Chapter 3 The Provocation from John the Burning Man. The system panel is simple and easy to understand. Levi's super ability level is now LV.3, which is equivalent to the 3rd level mutant. As for the experience bar below, it should be the experience value required for upgrade LV.4. That is to say, he only needs 1000 experience points to upgrade to LV4. It made him very excited. Come with me, Wes. Then Storm smiled and turned his head for him to follow. Oh, good teacher Orlo. Levi's trotted after him. Watching the two leave, Cyclops looked at Professor X and asked, Professor, what do you think of his ability? Professor X nodded with a smile. Yeah. His potential is indeed very powerful, and his ability is not just a simple reflection as he said, maybe even he himself is not very clear. When mutant first awakening ability, it is understandable that there is some deviation in his own ability cognition. Professor X opened the Mutant Academy in order to teach these mutants to control their own abilities. Cyclops did not speak. The other side. By the way, Teacher Orlo, how do I need to test super ability? On the way to test the super ability, Levi's couldn't help looking at Storm curiously and asked. I need to check your body and ability reflection strength, etc., and then I will ask Chin to help you. Storm explained simply with a smile. Levi's nodded. It was at this time. Weiss, you are awake. Weiss, are you alright? Weiss, have you awakening super ability? After seeing Levi's, several girls on the way ran over and cared very enthusiastically. Thank you for your concern. Levi's greeted them with a smile. In the half-year he came to Mutant Academy, with his handsome appearance, he also won the love of many girls. It is said that the best beauties know no borders, that is to say, the top beauties, no matter which country they are from, will have a unified aesthetic. The same goes for handsome guys. And Levi's handsomeness belongs to the kind that knows no borders, with a high nose, thin lips, handsome profile and perfect facial contours. The height of 1.82 meters looks very tall, but it does not appear as rude as Westerners. Perhaps because of awakening super ability, the body that originally looked thin has also become stronger. It can be seen from the muscles on his arms that he belongs to the type of undressed and fleshy. It's no wonder that the female students at the academy are so enthusiastic about him. However, this also made Levi's hostile to other mutants, and he also suffered a lot of bullying during the half-year he came to mutant school. Fortunately, every time someone made a rescue for him, so the past 6 months have been pretty good. Okay, everyone, let's go to class first. I'm going to take Wes to test ability. Storm looked at everyone and smiled. Sure enough, I knew that Weiss, you will definitely have awakening super ability. I don't know what your super ability is, Weiss. It must be very powerful. Teacher Orlo, can't we really go with us? Dot 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 dot. When a few little girls heard that Levi's was going to take the test, they immediately guessed that he had awakening ability. After all, the fact that he had a fever and was in a coma was almost known to everyone. Not this time, Wes' ability must be kept secret. Storm folded his arms and shook his head. A few little girls were a little sorry to see this. Levi's smiled and said nothing. It seems that Professor X is still very fancy about his ability. At this moment, several boys on the other side came over, and the man in charge was John the Burning Man. It's a bit surprising that you have awakening super ability too. John came up to Levi's and looked at him arrogantly. In the mutant school, John's strength is also among the best, and he is also the most despised person like Levi's who does not have the super ability of awakening. Levi's didn't like this guy very much. He turned to Storm and said, "Mr. Orlo, let's go." And many more. Seeing that he was ignoring him, John grabbed his shoulder in annoyance. However, just as John's hand touched Levi's shoulder, a huge force suddenly came from his hand, and he suddenly screamed and retracted his hand like an electric shock. This scene shocked everyone. "What's the matter with you, John?" Storm asked, frowning. "Ah, my hand, my hand," John screamed with arms crossed. When everyone saw it, they saw that John's hand had turned upside down, obviously broken. What the hell happened? Storm looked puzzled. I'm sorry, Mr. Ororo, it was my ability that I couldn't control and accidentally hurt John." Levi's raised his hand and said as if he was wrong. Hearing him say that, several boys and girls were a little confused, so John just patted Levi's on the shoulder just now. "I didn't see him make a move, why would Levi's say he did it himself?" And Storm remembered at this time, Levi's ability is reflection. John patted him on the shoulder just now, thinking that it was the reflex ability that was triggered. Thinking that Levi's awakening super ability was indeed uncontrollable, Storm didn't blame him. "You guys send John to Jin for treatment first. His hand won't be cured if it's too late," Storm said to the other boys. A few boys heard the words and immediately supported John and left. With the medical methods in Mutant Academy, there is no problem in treating this kind of injury. American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator 4. Chapter 4 Testing, Level 3 Mutant. Okay, let's go. After dealing with these things, Storm waved Levi's to leave. Levi's smiled at the ladies and followed. After the two of them left, the girls chatted more vigorously. Weiss' ability is so powerful that it hurts John all at once. That's right, I didn't even see how it was done. I see Weiss can easily beat John with one hand. I didn't expect that Weiss would easily defeat John with the awakening super ability just now. It's amazing. Several girls chatted vigorously, and then more and more people joined in after hearing the news. In just a moment, the entire Mutant Academy knew that Levi's had defeated John the Burning Man. And it's getting more and more outrageous. In the end, under the spread of a certain girl, Levi's awakening ability just used a finger to defeat the Burning Man John. At the same time, on the other side, Levi's followed Storm to a spacious laboratory. There are various test instruments in the laboratory, which are specially used to test mutant ability. Storm first tested his physical fitness and found that his physical fitness was better than the average student. Later, Lacan was called, and he was going to start taking blood tests for him. However, an embarrassing scene happened, the needle could not be inserted. "Levi's, relax now and try to turn off your ability." While guiding gently, Chin changed the needle. "Teacher, I know, but I can't turn off this ability," Levi's said helplessly. "Alas, then there is no way." Jin looked at Storm helplessly. "Then let's take a blood test another day, and test ability first." Storm decided to skip the blood test for now. Seeing this, the corners of Levi's mouth rose slightly. "The blood test is very dangerous. Who knows if the secret of your super ability will be discovered. You might even be able to create a daughter for you through your genes, like Wolverine." He didn't want his ability to be studied, so he deliberately said that ability could not be closed. The maximum value of the reflex is tested below, starting with a force of 100 kilograms. Storm made Levi's stand in a laboratory, and soon a large iron ball smashed over. The force of the big iron ball was about 100 kilograms. However, Levi's didn't even look, and even yawned. When the big iron ball hit him, it was bounced off instantly. A mere 100 kilograms is like a tickling for his vector manipulation. Theoretically, there is no upper limit to the reflection of vector manipulation. Definitely, this is without considering the amount of computation. Today, although he does not need calculation, he has the upper limit of ability. He also wanted to know where the upper limit of vector manipulation for LV3 was. Then Storm tested 200 kilograms and 300 kilograms respectively, and kept adding up. Still, Levi's thought it was too slow. Teacher Orlo, I don't think you need to be so troublesome, just give me a ton of it. Storm was taken aback for a moment. You sure? Definitely sure, so far 500 kilograms is just tickling me. Levi's nodded with a calm look. Well then, seeing how relaxed he was, Storm agreed after thinking about it. Then the big iron ball slammed into him with a 1-ton force. Levi's stretched out his palm with one hand, and the next moment, the menacing big iron ball was bounced back again. It's still too light, Mr. Orlo, let's go straight to 5 tons. 5 tons directly. Storm was startled, but did so anyway. Immediately after that, 5 tons, 10 tons, and 20 tons were all tested. Until the time of 100 tons, Levi's still had no pressure. Obviously, his vector manipulation is definitely more than that, but there is no more strength test in the laboratory. This result also shocked Storm. Unexpectedly, Levi's initial awakening super ability is so powerful. Okay, let's test the reflection on other abilities next. Storm waved Levi's to another lab. Fire and electricity tests were then carried out, which could reflect objects but not necessarily energy. However, Storm and Jean were wrong. Even the energy Levi's was able to reflect easily. After some tests, Storm was stunned by the data tested in his hands. According to speculation, Levi's can reflect the impact force of objects of more than 1,000 tons, and can also reflect energy such as electricity, flames, and storms. In the end, Storm initially gave him a 3-level mutant evaluation. The specific real data is left for the next test, because this test is completely unprepared. Definitely, don't underestimate the 3rd-level mutants. You must know that most of the mutants are 2nd-level or 1st-level mutants. Level 3 mutants are few and far between. Don't you see there are only a handful of 3rd-level mutants in the entire Mutant Academy? And level 4 mutants are even fewer. Levi's still agrees with this evaluation. Definitely, he is absolutely invincible among the 3rd-level mutants. Even a level 4 mutant isn't necessarily a match for him, like Professor X's mind manipulation is useless against him. After the test, Storm let Levi's go, and she and Chin hurriedly handed over the data just tested to Professor X. American Comics. Opening sign in Accelerator 5. Chapter 5 Sign into Clarice, get space to move. Wait until Professor X has read the test data. Cyclops on the side asked curiously, Professor, how is it? It's only a 3rd-level mutant, but for the awakening ability just now, it's really good. His ability has yet to grow. Professor X said slowly after looking at the test data. And the ability is controllable, with no obvious side effects, Storm added. Yeah, ability is controllable. These few words are simply the best news for Professor X. After all, if there was another uncontrollable mutant like Shangchen, Professor X would really feel a little overwhelmed. At the moment, Professor X is very fortunate that he found Levi's first, otherwise it would be troublesome if Magneto recruited him. Then, Professor, do you want Levi's to join the X-Men? Cyclops asked again. Professor X thought for a while and said, well, it's a matter of time, but for now, let's investigate for a while. On the other hand, Levi's wandered around the campus a little bored after leaving Storm's lab. He kept looking at the playground, as if looking for something. At this moment, on a stone bench under the shade of a tree not far away, a girl with purple hair and green pupils whispered to him. It's Clarice. Levi's eyes lit up when he saw the girl, and then walked over. This world is a bit different from the X-Men world he knows, more like a world that integrates multiple timelines. Just as 17 or 18-year-old Clarice would be here, Magneto's daughter Polaris is said to be somewhere, but has never had the chance to see it. How is Clarice? Are you still used to it after coming to mutant school? Well, I also made a lot of friends here, especially At the end, Clarice's voice was so low that he couldn't hear it clearly. Clarice suddenly came to Mutant College a week ago. At that time, in order to escape the capture of the Mutant Research Society, she used superpower, but happened to be teleported to the Mutant Academy. After more than a week, this timid and cowardly girl has also changed a lot. After all, Mutant Academy is much safer than the previous escape life. Levi's chatted with Clarice one after another while using the system to check in Clarice. Did the host check in with Mutant Clarice? Close black lens bracket. Sign me in. Levi's ordered without hesitation. Open black lens bracket ding. The sign-in is successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the super ability, space movement, and 100 experience points. Close black lens bracket. It's actually a space move. Levi's was overjoyed. He didn't expect to be so lucky to sign in the super ability of space mobility. Spatial movement allows users to move to the place they can see, and can teleport wherever they have been. It is simply a necessary magic skill to kill and escape. However, his current super ability level is only level 3, and the distance and range of using space to move are also limited. He looked at his system panel. Open black lens bracket host. Levi's close black lens bracket. Super ability. Vector operation, space movement. Super ability level. LV.3, level 3 mutant. Open black lens bracket experience value. 1100 close black lens bracket. 100 experience points are obtained by successfully signing in once, which means that he only needs to sign in 10 times, then he can become LV4, which is the 4th level mutant. It made him very excited. What are you thinking about, Weiss? Clarice asked suspiciously when she saw his happy face. Cough, I just think of happy things. A happy thing. That's a good afternoon to spend with Clarice. Levi's chuckled. This made Clarice bow her head a little embarrassed, but she was also a little happy. Weiss. At this time, another girl came over. Hi, Mary. Levi's smiled and greeted the little naughty who came over. The little naughty glanced at Clarice on the side, hesitation, and sat down on the other side of him. I heard you awakening super ability and defeated John with just one finger. Ah, a finger. Levi's is a little confused. He doesn't know that the Mutant Academy has spread about his defeat of John the Burning Man. Isn't it? The little naughty was also a little puzzled. Levi's shrugged helplessly. Actually, I didn't do it, John was just hurt by my ability. What? Are your fingers useless? It's amazing. The little naughty was amazed after hearing this. This understanding of ability is also against the sky, but then again, it is true, he did not even use his fingers. It's nothing, because my ability can't be perfectly controlled for the time being, so I accidentally hurt him. Levi's explained. Can't control it. Is it a side effect? For some reason, when she heard the words, uncontrollable, little naughty was a little overjoyed, because her ability was also uncontrollable. It seems that the two are somewhat similar. Don't worry, as long as you work hard, you will be able to control your ability. Levi smiled and waved his hand. His ability was originally perfectly controllable, and being uncontrollable was nothing but fooling others. The little naughty became thoughtful when he heard his words. Weiss, do you think my ability can also be controlled through cultivation? Well, it's definitely possible, Levi said without hesitation. I remember that there is a version of the little naughty who can really control her ability. I think she will be successful as long as she works hard. The little naughty seemed to be more infected by his words. She nodded and said, yeah. I will definitely work hard. ...